You are now about to go on a generic side quest.
Keep the crunching down a little bit.
Crunch on my pubes,
Welcome to this episode of the Generic Transmission, brought to you by Generic Side Quest. This is the Wrestling Pod edition. Today, I am joined with
Ricky the Leaf, 8-Bit to the Future, Drake Quintel.
Sean at McCartweets.
Miguel.
You changed up your Twitter handle?
I did. I'm gonna probably look to revamp my blog, get a logo going. So we'll see how that. Everything has been reworked in the wrestling industry, so I figured why not me as well.
Yeah, this is a huge week for wrestling, and I am your host, Amriel. Guys, we had a lot of wrestling this week. A newly developed company and 3 mainstays of the wrestling industry. We just finished watching the premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. What did you guys think of the premiere?
I thought it was underwhelming a little bit, but I'm just a pessimistic person and I'm just generally very cynical, so I just expected a little bit more. Underwhelming, yes. I was expecting a Sting, an Undertaker, maybe a CM Punk, which is a far reach. I did not want to spend 20 minutes on Shane and Kevin Owens.
Yeah. Now we got the legends in the crowd.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I actually didn't really like the Rock segment at all, really.
Oh, man.
I thought that was just kind of lame.
With Becky Lynch.
With Becky Lynch.
Why did you think that was lame?
I just thought it was very scripted. I was telling Sean earlier, it just felt like everything was choreographed, from like the daps to them lifting each other, like The Rock putting his hand up at the end with Becky Lynch raising the title, to Corbin's reactions, you know.
Who made the segment bad?
I just think it's a WWE thing. I don't think it was a person making it bad, because I thought Corbin actually exceeded my expectation. I thought he was going to be way worse on the mic. It wasn't that bad.
Right.
Becky Lynch and The Rock, The Rock kind of just did his general, he came in with his catchphrases.
Yeah.
He called somebody an ass clown or whatever he calls them nowadays, and it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me, and it just again felt super PC and corporate, which is what WWE feels like nowadays.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sean, how about you?
I mean, I love seeing The Rock back. I was really excited for this show, and The Rock being an addition, Rock being on SmackDown just fit to me. I'm a big Rock fan. Let me see how many times I can say The Rock again. I agree with Miguel that I think everybody feels junior to these big guys, like when Austin shows up, when The Rock shows up. So it's like The Rock gets to say his catchphrase of it doesn't matter, but he throws it to be like, here kid, have the punchline. I mean, it hurts me to say that because I do like Becky. I think she's an excellent promo, and I think she did some good ad-libbing stuff.
So, editor's note here, this is Amriel. This is the part of the podcast that got cut. So you can clearly hear us starting to talk about the debut of SmackDown on Fox. And then all of a sudden we skipped to Raw, which was the season premiere. So what happened was, when my laptop goes into sleep mode, Audacity stops recording. It's a real pain in the ass, but that's what happened. So I know it's a little bit jarring, but the rest of the conversation goes pretty good. Thanks.
Now returning to your regularly scheduled podcast.
At 10:30 p.m., which is pretty noteworthy when people tune out. So let's just see if anyone is watching and Lacey's there. So
Interesting.
I don't like her. I don't find her entertaining.
Not a fan, eh?
Don't find her in ring, her character, her little.
You don't like her shtick?
Not at all.
Yeah, I like character work. I like that someone has something about them, that they're just not a wrestler. They're coming to the scene with something. I do not like the Southern Belle at all. She's in a program now with Natty Neihart. They're fighting over the sharpshooter, actually. So it's a cool program. I remember Bret Hart had a match with Sting for the sharpshooter. Do you guys remember that in WCW?
No.
Way back.
No.
It was a cool program. Who was the master of the sharpshooter, or who was the master of the Scorpion Deathlock? So they're kind of touching on that now, which is weird because Lacey Evans has never used the sharpshooter up until this point, to my knowledge. So they had the match. Lacey did her thing. She has this gimmick where she wipes her sweat and throws a rag at you.
Yeah.
Kind of like when Razor used to throw his toothpick.
Right.
Everything is there for her. I just don't know why I don't like her. She does not connect with me at all.
I like the gimmick. I think it's a little too gimmicky. It reminds me of Hunter Hearst Helmsley Blue Blood kind of thing, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But when you're too gimmicky, I don't think that sort of lasts too long. Because, like, if you're in, like, an IRS, you know, like, it's tough to repackage that, you know?
Trust
like,
me.
you're just straight up, like, a television character. You know, maybe that's who she is in real life. Maybe she is actually, like, a belle of some kind, so...
I'm just shocked that we've compared Lacey to Bret Hart, Sting, Razor Ramon, Triple H, and Mike Rotunda. I'm shocked that she's been involved in that conversation.
She's not bad. She can wrestle, too, a little bit, right?
No.
Oh
No?
my gosh.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so anyways.
But hey, when you got a female roster of 50 people, you know, when the WWE roster is 200 people,
Right.
fuck
Right.
it, you can have a Lacey Evans in there. Why not? She fills a
Not
role.
at that position. Not at that position, I don't
She
think.
fills a role.
I think her and Natalia are main event material. And by main event, I mean that online show that's titled Main Event. Is usually a Dark Mets segment.
But bum.
Okay.
Okay, so next we had a match. So this match was kind of alluded to. Seth Rollins was supposed to have a Universal title match with Rey Mysterio. Brock came out, destroyed Dominic, so Rey was out of the match. Rusev made the save and said, Seth, I saved you, you owe me, I want a match for your title. Kind of weird because they're on Team Hogan, but the match was made. A limousine pulled up. Do you remember back in the day when a limo would pull up, but you wouldn't know who was in the limo?
That was a big deal back then.
Huge deal. Nice long white limo. Had no clue as to who was in it. And it was a season premiere of Raw, so it had to be big. It had to be huge. And some might argue it was huge.
Some would. Some would have a real issue with that.
Okay, so the first thing I had that was wrong with this. Rusev did not get an intro. We went to commercial and Rusev was already in the ring.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is not good.
Yeah.
That is really not good. You are delegated at that point.
So Seth Rollins comes out and they have... Oh, the heels are on the stage. Randy Orton and Baron Corbin are watching from the stage. So the match begins, Seth Rollins, Rusev. And Rusev immediately goes for his accolade. That's his finishing move. What is it called again?
It's like a camel clutch.
Camel clutch, right. Doesn't get it. Seth is fighting because he's a fighting champ.
Yeah.
And then we hear music going off of the one and only Bobby Lashley.
My God.
Wake up, Ricky.
Oh, man.
Good God almighty.
Now this was a...
Should have been on pay-per-view.
Did he come out with headband?
No
I
headband.
know, it looked like he had no eyebrows either.
Oh man.
The most charisma I've ever seen.
So Bobby Lashley comes out and distracts Rusev. Seth Rollins is now outside of the ring because he's gotten thrown out.
Okay.
An honorable babyface did not do the distraction roll-up.
Yeah.
Talk about over.
And then Bobby Lashley signals for Raw's doorway.
Who could it be? Could it be Bret Hart? Could it be Bruno Sammartino? Could it be... is he dead? Oh, man. Sorry.
It's all good.
Could it be the Heartbreak Kid? I don't know, man. It really could be anybody, right?
Sean.
It's one of the biggest nights ever. It's a white limousine. It could have been anybody, goddammit.
You have me on the edge of my seat because I missed all this, so I have no idea who it actually is, and I know it's gonna be super
You're in
disappointing.
for a surprise, man.
Sean, who was it?
The ravishing one, Lana. Rusev's
Lana.
wife.
Lana.
Really?
Came out.
AKA Rusev's wife. In real life, wife.
In real life?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a shoot wife, brother.
Yeah.
That's a shoot. It's a shoot wife.
So she comes out and Bobby Lashley is now praising her. He goes for the hug and they hug and Rusev is just standing in the ring watching as this is going down.
Okay.
And they,
Now, for anyone here, another man is beside your significant other,
Okay.
and you're about 20 feet
20
from
feet,
there.
yeah.
Maybe about 60 feet.
Are you watching this? Are you watching this to see how it unfolds? You making a move?
Now it could have been
Well, you say they hugged. Did you go
Hold on.
into... Okay, you're building this up.
it could
Because
have
this is a huge moment.
Yeah, you
I
have
think they
me.
had,
I
like-
want to watch
Let's
Raw
go.
next
Let's go.
week.
What happened, man?
it could have been a Rock Deborah Austin storyline where Deborah managed the Rock. Austin wasn't cool with it. That would have been cool. And the announce table was like, what the heck is going on? 2-2s. Bobby Lashley turns to Lana. Tongue down throats.
Oh, damn.
They start making out right on the stage. Rusev does not move a muscle. And he watches this.
Yeah.
As Lana and Bobby Lashley are full-blown making out.
Yeah. She wraps his leg around him, too.
And
they
they're married
stop.
in real life,
They're married in
too,
real life.
yeah.
They
Married
stop.
in real life.
They look at Rusev, and they go back to making out again.
Not
And
one-
it felt like it was like just going on.
It
And
was-
you're like,
Whoa, this
Okay,
is
like-
super weird.
now to me, it was very uncomfortable to watch.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's uncomfortable listening to you guys mention this right now.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
Orton and Corbin are on the side, just like jaws open.
They lost it.
Yeah.
It looked like a shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was Rusev's actual reaction in the ring?
He was his face
staring?
was he was just staring.
Shocked.
He wasn't even in. That's the thing. He wasn't even in shock. Like his mouth wasn't open or anything. He was just like staring, and it's like, what? Like, bro, what are you doing?
So is he the new cuck?
Yes.
Of the WWE?
Yeah, Sean, what was that
New
tweet?
cuck order.
They,
It's a new T-shirt.
because Mike Kanellis was also portraying this kind of like
Cuck character.
inferior male character.
Incel.
Yeah,
It's a new
so,
thing.
No,
they
not
said
an insult,
Kanellis
it's straight
and
up
Kanellis and Rusev take off the young bucks. They were like, these are the new young cucks.
Oh man.
It's
And they have the same pose as the.
now. Here's the thing.
Ah.
Apparently, Rusev is on his way out, and this is why they're doing that.
No, what do you mean?
He might
Why?
be leaving. He might be
Why-
on his way out.
If that's true, why would Lana be up for that? Why would she allow that to happen? She's married to
They're
him.
still under contract.
That's twisted.
Yeah,
That is very twisted.
If that's the case.
yeah.
Seems like a very 90s WWE story.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vince did that.
Well, look
Yeah.
at look at
Stone Cold.
Macho and Elizabeth and Hogan. They had this weird.
Did you
love
see the
triangle.
Lance Storm tweet?
No. What was it?
Lance Storm tweeted, I once talked to Macho Man about doing an angle with my wife, and Macho Man's advice to me was, I once did an angle with my wife, and I have no wife anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't like
Careful before you work yourself into a shoot.
brother.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, Ricky? Hearing that, what do you
man.
think?
That was very uncomfortable to watch. I didn't think that was going that direction, especially when you mentioned the limousine. I didn't.
The
think
night
it
is
was
not
gonna be like-
done.
What do you mean the night is not done?
The Fiend
Tongues
now.
were a theme, man. Tongues were a
Damn,
theme.
that wasn't the main event.
That was the main
That
event.
was the main
Oh,
event.
okay.
But as this was going on the ramp,
Yeah.
The Fiend comes out.
and Rusev like
and puts his tongue down her throat too.
Not quite. He puts his fingers in Seth
Oh.
Rollins.
In his mouth. Let's be clear.
And that's how the night ended. So it was a very
What a weird ending.
yeah.
That's
So
your Raw premiere.
that was your Raw premiere. It was
Wow.
it
What
was
is going to
weird.
happen with Lashley now?
I don't know if you guys saw, but they were on the blue carpet event, like the premiere before SmackDown. They had a blue carpet event,
Uh-huh.
And Lashley and Lana came out together.
Ooh,
Weird.
that's not good.
It's really
Weird.
uncomfortable to watch.
Extremely uncomfortable once you know the
And,
actual.
and people online like, well, actresses kiss other actors in a movie and the husbands are okay.
That's
I
fine,
was like,
but
that's fine, but like this Rusev and his co-worker, it's his
Yeah,
co-worker.
you're actually putting them in together in the same scene and doing it type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Her
and you
husband's-
already have a cut character. Just leave it.
And he's leaving too, so it seems as if like
Allegedly,
they're trying to-
allegedly.
allegedly.
I hope
whatever.
not. I actually.
But would you,
I
man?
like
you
Rusev
you would
quite a
ruin
bit.
a man's marriage because he doesn't want to work for your company.
Vince is known to do more savage things. This would be a 2019 screw job.
Yeah, I mean, Vince is the same guy who proposed an incest angle.
Yeah,
Right.
So
multiple.
Well, Gene Snitsky had a foot fetish for a little while too, so there's been some really
anything is,
weird. Draws
So
was
we-
going to eat his own vomit.
So we haven't seen the end of this. This is just the beginning.
This is just
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the premiere,
this
man.
is just the beginning.
It's
I
culminating
hope
in
this
this.
means Lashley's not going to be in the title picture. That's
No,
all
I don't
that
think so.
means.
No.
You think he's going to make a comeback and a?
No, I think they're going
I
to.
think Brock drops it to Kane, and then Kane drops it to Lashley.
Oof.
And then Brock and Lashley.
So basically, it's just going to be like a straight UFC. Like,
I'm just
like
kidding.
UFC's going to
Nah,
take
that's
over.
not gonna
I'm just
happen.
kidding.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay, thank God.
But speaking of new beginnings and the young cucks, we go over to a company without cucks. AEW
Deadly segue.
had its had its premiere show on cable television. AEW Dynamite on TNT. Now this is AEW is a brainchild. That's All Elite Wrestling is a brainchild of the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, and the Cleaner
Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. Thank you. This is the debut show. Did you guys catch any of it?
Sean?
Yeah, I actually ended up going to my mom's place. That was mostly for dinner, and then I just like turned on TSN.
What'd you guys have?
She made spaghetti.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh man,
Little jerk chicken in there too?
No.
where was our invite?
Well, you're lucky you're even here.
Oh, man.
I didn't want to watch it, and I was very adamant about like adhering to this gimmick that I have of like bashing AEW and not being a fan. But for the sake of this podcast and journalism integrity, I did watch it. And I watched it with an extremely critical eye, like looking for any mistake, any botch, any slip up. I guess we don't have to go match by match, but overall impressions,
I could go match for match.
Remarkable production, looked major league right off the bat. I love the pan of the crowd. Like, it was like a circular shot.
Oh, yeah.
Just looked like a sold-out stadium. Whether it was or wasn't doesn't really matter to me. It had the appeal that this was sold out. And I think, Miguel, you and I had this conversation. AEW was able to sell to 14,000 plus people, which is remarkable. This is a company that people didn't give a chance, including myself, and the ratings even came out and they did 1.4 million people watching.
Yeah, this was the start of the
890,000 on NXT. So
this was the start of the Wednesday Night Wars, and although it was a debut, so that's going to boost the ratings. It's a new product. People are going to be swarmed to it just to see what it's about. They killed it. They had 1.4 million.
They did too. I really did. I think it was the best they could have done for what they had. Like it was. They played their cards right. I thought.
Oh, tenfold.
It was like basically foot on the gas the whole show almost.
Yeah. Now
especially in the in-ring. In-ring, it was foot on the gas.
There were a few things that I was confused about. A few referee calls that I was confused about.
Right.
Like, I don't know if there are no countouts in this promotion.
Yeah.
Also, what's up with the disqualification? So we'll get to that. Ricky, did you catch any of it?
I did not, because here in Canada it airs on TSN2 and I do not have TSN2.
Okay.
I did see a little clip, so I got to see the production value of it.
Yeah.
And just to reiterate what Sean said, production looked great. A much more well-lit ROH. No, but honestly, it looked really good. It looked like a high production venue and everything, so it's good at least on that point for me.
My first impressions was it felt like a mix of WCW and TNA, but with the production of a WWE at times. Now, Jim Ross, old Jimmy.
That's a big one, eh?
Yeah.
That's an ace in your
hole.
hand.
Yeah. He makes it feel like an established show already.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the camera work, and Justin Roberts, who was the ring announcer, he's a former WWE ring announcer. Oh. It just made it feel like, oh yeah, this has been a thing. They mentioned Twitter, like you know how WWE used to mention Twitter. Oh, we're the number one trending. So they did that, and I guess it's just the time we live in. They have to mention that. I heard in Germany they were actually number one trending, even though you can't watch it in Germany.
Wow.
You need like an app or something.
Wow. Yeah,
so that's pretty huge. The opening match had a great slow build. I hate that Sammy kid.
Really?
Yeah, the Sammy, the fresh face. He
yeah,
came
the
out
little
with,
kid.
Yeah,
again, the face Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like him, eh?
I hate that kid.
What don't you like about him?
His face.
His face. Okay. What about in-ring talent though?
Yeah,
the man's killer.
Yeah, he did some stuff. But remember last pod how you guys said who were shitting on Buddy Murphy?
Yeah.
Even though he could go in the ring, I feel like. That's how I feel about this Sammy kid. It's just, plus he has a punchable face.
But he's a little baby though. Look at him, man.
Yeah, correct.
He's got potential, dude.
Correct.
He's not there right now, I don't think. Like, I didn't really even hear him talk, to be honest. But now in the ring, though, man.
Yeah. Oof. So now his background is millennial. Through and through.
Yeah.
He's like a vlogger in like real life and stuff like that. Plus a pro wrestler. So he kind of relatable. He does good heel work. Again, punchable face. Instant heel. But yeah, it was a pretty good match because Cody made sure to let him get his stuff in. They both did cool like springboard cutters.
Yeah.
But at the end, Cody Rhodes came out with the win.
You know what I noticed with AEW that I think might not be good for them is that they put out everything they have in every match. You know what I mean? There's no, like, when it comes to their moves and their intensity, it's like their go all the time. Like, they don't hold back. So, like, a month from now, it's like, I'm not going to be able to see anything different, you know? Like, if they, like, two cutters, like, both those moves were super impressive, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like in a month from now, you're going to see a different in-ring, what's his name, Sammy?
Yeah.
You're not going to see a different in-ring Sammy, I don't think. You're just going to see this guy who's super athletic, but there's not going to be much of a different dynamic to him. You know what I mean? And I think that's what I found with this whole AEW show is that everybody put everything they had in their X amount of time slot of their match.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, so is that a good thing?
I don't
It's
know,
not
to be
sustainable.
honest. Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. Like they one thing I also noticed that was like they were super high impact.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of spots where I'm like, yo, you're not going to be able to do this every week.
Right.
Not for like 300 shows a year or
Sure.
whatever. I don't know. I'm assuming
Well,
they're going to have a WWE sort of schedule, but
The cool thing about, and this is a little background, we weren't privy to this information yesterday, or sorry, on Wednesday. Tony Khan, who is the financier of this promotion, he said that they do have a robust roster, and you won't see the same guys on every week.
okay.
So it will be rotating. So I think that maybe they're kind of tailoring it to the wrestlers' styles,
Yeah.
this high impact style.
You just got to be able to shift gears is what I'm saying, you know? It just felt like everything was in gear 6
Gotcha.
for everybody.
So you don't think it was a slow build?
No, I feel like they just were pedal to the metal
Okay.
from the get-go. Every match, too.
So that's funny because I thought the opening match, Cody and Sammy, actually did start off slow. And then it definitely ramped up. That's interesting to hear you say that. At the end of the match, Y2J, who is the first ever AEW champion, came out and beat down Cody. And it was kind of weird because he grabbed the mic and he's like, I'm Y2J. But I don't think they knew where it was kind of going. It looked a little bit sloppy.
Right.
So in Cody's match, Brandy came out. That's his wife. Ricky, I know you're a big fan of Brandy.
Yes, big fan of her in-ring talent and her looks.
She actually got pushed in the way of a suicide dive of Cody Rhodes. And she
Best
took
push she's ever received, man. Come on.
Hey, she took the bump and she took it nice. But then she got involved and she actually distracted Sammy, which was cool to see. Even though I think they're faces or whatever, she got that bit of redemption or revenge. So she was an element in the match. I think she could be like a Lita, Edge and Lita. Remember how they were a duo? I think they could be on that level. It was a little awkward coming back from the break. They really just didn't know what to focus on.
It was like some dead periods.
Yeah. And then we got Brandon Cutler versus MJF. MJF is so great. He came out and he's like, cut my music. And then he just roasted Brandon Cutler. Classic heel work in 2019 is amazing.
Yeah, he's a good heel, eh? He seems like a trust fund baby, is what I was telling Sean. Like he's got that Burberry scarf. He looks very entitled.
He has breakout star written all over him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The hard cam for that match looked exactly like WWE's. It was no weird.
Brandon Cutler looked like a younger Just Incredible.
Good call.
To me.
Good call.
Who, you would appreciate this, Ricky. Played Aldo Montoya, the Portuguese man of war.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Jock strap on the face.
Oh, man.
Uh,
Making our people proud.
One jockstrap at a time.
Yeah.
There was good banter from the announce team. They used Prick, which is TV14.
The envelope.
They did have a weird camera angle. They need to cut it.
The shoulder cam?
No, the camera angle from the corner, but
Yeah,
from the bottom turnbuckle.
When you put the shoulder into it.
Yeah. Shoulder cam. Right. That was so like it's so WCW. Like it was not needed. Speaking of WCW,
They're out of business?
Tony Schiavone made his comeback. I don't think he's commentated for any wrestling promotion since.
MLW.
Oh, okay. I have no clue what that was. Major League Wrestling.
That's
Thank
why
you.
Sean's on here.
Yeah. I do not like this man. What? Yeah. I know. He's too WCW for me.
Oh, man. I wanted him to go off the air. We're out of time.
Classic.
Because WCW never did their time cues properly.
Well, when you have Big Kev running the show.
Man.
No, but he did grow on me a little bit during the program. But I think that's just because of the banter he had with JR. And I'm a JR guy through and through. Or a Jim guy now. Don't call him JR.
No, he doesn't want to be JR no more?
Nah, you call him Jim.
What?
Yeah.
WWE owns the JR license.
That can't be.
I think I just made that up.
That can't be.
So,
JR though, man, that's honestly, he kind of,
The man's an institution.
he really is. I never thought commentary would entice me to watch a program. Really
Right,
though.
right.
Like, he's a big reason why I would watch AEW.
I mean,
I think if we're talking about the commentary, I think everybody did their part. Nobody spoke over each other. And even though Shivani and JR, their strengths have been play-by-play in the past, I think they came in as experts who know wrestling.
Yeah.
And they didn't they both did a fair exchange, and they kind of let Excalibur kind of take the lead on calling moves and knowing moves and knowing how moves are titled in 2019. And
I wish Excalibur spoke up a little bit. He definitely felt like the third man on, let's say, a Raw announce table.
That's interesting. I thought he was the lead from what I gathered, but
Right. I thought Shivani actually was the dominant lead. I mean, we'll see next week how that goes. I thought they could have put better full stops to the match, like the announce team. They didn't really, oh, what a great match, or like, here's our next match. They kind of just spoke. They also did that from commercial breaks. At one point, JR said something about picture-in-picture, but I didn't know what that was about because it just went to commercial break.
Right.
They do have growing pains.
Yeah.
They're
Day one, man. Well, not really day one, but like on television.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be a work in progress. They got to feel each other out, right?
Right. The Lucha Bros came out and they feuded with SCU, and they were basically promoting the tag team tournament for next week. Inaugural tag team champions will be in that in that tournament.
any predictions?
I think the Lucha
Don't
Bros.
care. Just don't care.
This company, I think they are building
No
around.
one cares.
I think they are building around.
Next.
Fuck. I think they are building around tag teams
Okay.
because of the Young Bucks.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
No, I think there's two guys in this tag team tournament I think you guys should keep an eye on.
Jungle Boy.
Not Jungle Boy. I like Jungle Boy's partner far more. I think that guy's a breakout star. Luchasaurus sounds like a ridiculous name.
Yeah, and that's why I'm gonna drop a famous phrase. Who's next?
Well, you're next to be off the pod.
Oh
so,
man.
I think Luchasaurus is a breakout star, and I love Pentagon.
Oh yeah,
I
Pentagon
love
Jr.
Pentagon,
Holy.
yeah. And if AEW ever gets like an action figure deal going, those are the two guys that I will put on my shelf.
Luchasaurus is made for an
That
action
my
figure.
girlfriend will throw out. But, oh my.
The next
you
we
guys
had.
got that out of you now?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
we're good. The next
Look
we
at that.
had.
No one wants to talk about AEW
How
anymore.
dare you? We'll get to your segment. But we're going to talk about the match of the week.
Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era.
Not at all. Hangman Page versus Pac. Neville for you WWE fans.
Hangman Page is my boy.
Yeah.
I loves me some Hangman Page. If you're gonna come in on a horse, man, you got me. It's over.
That Old Town
I'm
Road,
I'm already bought in fully.
Yeah.
And I find out you got in-ring talent and a look. Oh man, dude's one of my faves in the biz.
This match, okay, so on the last podcast, we spoke about Austin and The Rock and Triple H delivering heavy hits, and that's what kind of made them over, for me at least. Pac and Page, man, talk about strong style. Their hits, though, I felt those hits through my TV screen.
That's what I was saying, man. It's high impact in this AEW, man. Like, I don't know if they're gonna be able to keep it up, dude.
But not only high impact, these two can, like, they were jumping over ropes. Well, Pac is, like, gravity forgot him.
Yeah.
And Page just has this it factor.
Page does. Pac doesn't.
You don't
Pac
think?
doesn't have a look, man.
What?
Pac doesn't have a look. If he gets a hair transplant, he could make a look, but he doesn't have it though.
It was jokes. My dad was actually in the room for this, and he's like, Pac reminds him of Taker of all people.
Whoa.
And then he saw the height difference. He's like, oh shit, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yo man, this is my match of the week.
No, Pac wasn't bald, was he?
Nah, he had.
Oh,
he
okay,
had the
okay.
long,
I'm thinking,
stringy
who was the
black
bald
hair.
guy with the beard? Yo,
That's
he faced.
Brandon Cutler, man.
Brandon Cutler.
Oh, never mind.
That's a Baba Ganoush.
My bad. That was a Baba Ganoush for sure. Pac was cool.
The match actually started during commercial break, which was weird.
The commercials hurt this match for me. I couldn't get into it. It was a good match from what I saw, but
Did you realize AEW has old school barriers, like the old school guardrails?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Page was moving like a lightweight, mixed with and hits like a heavyweight. I love in AEW wins loss matters, just like SmackDown seems to be win loss matters. I think that's where wrestling is going in the future.
I heard JR on Austin's podcast. He was talking about how he wants to try to put in time limits on matches.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, that's actually what they announced. That good point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, really? Eh?
At the beginning of every match, this is a 30-minute match, or this is a 20-minute match, or this match has no time limits. For the women's match, I believe it had no time limits because they were crowning an inaugural women's champion.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a second. Earl Hebner, 70 years old,
Couldn't get another ref, eh?
was officiating. I think he officiated for the Pac match, the Hangman Page match.
Yeah.
And it was good. He hasn't lost a beat.
No.
But that brings us to the inaugural women's championship match. Britt Baker.
you guys didn't talk about Hebner screwing Page when he didn't see the kick to the balls and he still pinned the thing.
Oh, but that wasn't a screw. That wasn't a screw
Anything
job.
Hebner does is a screw job.
Oh, man.
Screw that guy.
Screw that guy, right? Britt Baker, Sean, fan? Do you know who Britt Baker is?
Yeah, she's a dentist.
Yeah, she's a dentist.
She's the girlfriend or partner of Adam Cole. I haven't really watched her in ring.
Apparently, she's good.
I thought she was on commentary.
Yeah,
From what I saw, and then she sounded like she wasn't. Midway through the match,
I kind of like how she's
went quiet.
Yeah, midway through the match, she did go quiet, but I kind of like how she speaks. They're really
She's a dentist, man. She got that good oral hygiene and all that. So
What?
Oral B.
Oh man, Oral B. That's good. They're really posing her as
A dentist?
a dentist, yeah, and a challenger to either Nyla
Gingivitis?
Rose or Rio. This match, what do you guys think about this? This was kind of silly. It was a silly match,
It was sloppy.
but it grew on me.
There was that Northern Light suplex off the top rope that I think
That kind of changed momentum.
elevated the pace, yeah.
So we have a new AEW Women's Champion, Rio. She actually started her wrestling career when she was 9 years old.
No, she looks like
She's
she's
not
just
9
10
now?
man.
Yeah.
This match was a little bit unbelievable for me. There was a few stupid spots, like why would Nyla Rose grab chairs when you're trying to become the champion?
There's no DQs apparently in AEW.
That led to another confusing bit, right? But she got crowned, and Kenny Omega made the save while Nyla Rose destroyed Michael Nakazawa. And she was about to destroy Rio when Kenny Omega came and saved. Now, Kenny Omega trained Rio, so that was a cool little touch. And apparently he's heading up the women's division in AEW. But Nyla, man, she's, the first transgender mainstream wrestler. She's huge. She's big. Miguel, you touched on this in our last pod.
Mm-hmm.
And we will get to that conversation in the next pod.
Right.
What do you think about a transgender wrestler wrestling?
Whew,
in,
jeez.
but make it brief. Make it brief.
That's a loaded question.
What do you think about abortion? Like,
man.
that's basically what you're asking me. You know what? It's scripted, so I don't mind. If it was real athletics, then I think it's a real conversation. Or if it's not scripted, then different conversation.
On a
But
more
I don't care.
competitive-
But I would love to talk about female wrestling though, and
We will.
I just don't care. I would love to talk about that.
We will.
We have a special lined up for you.
Thank you.
Actually, though.
Thank you.
But we got our classic JR pop when Rio won. It was a thing of beauty. And the crowd was into this match. They loved it from beginning to end. They were really behind Rio. It was classic David versus Goliath. And Rio came out on top. We have our main event, boys. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Santana Ortiz and Y2J. Wow. Sean, what did you think of this main event?
I mean, it was the key guys you needed in your AEW main event for the first show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was all 6 guys. I'm not too familiar with LAX. I know they're a new signee, but I think it was built up as the mystery partners of Jericho, which were revealed on that, that hype show or the pre-show the day before. But I think you had your AEW champion and you had names that people know, Bucks and Omega. I think if you wanted to see Kenny Omega, you kind of got ripped off because he was kind of taken out pretty quickly out of the main event when Moxley showed up.
Yeah.
But
still
that's
did
the build to full gear, so I
still
can accept
did
that.
work.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see too much of him, but I understood and appreciate what they had to do. Moxley showed up to hype up you want to send people to the pay-per-view, so
Yeah.
you'll see Kenny Omega on other weeks, so that's fine with me. Judas Effect, which is Jericho's elbow finisher.
Reverse elbow.
I really like the setup to that with LAX kind of beating them down, them beating the Young Bucks. I had no issue. I just don't think you got to see anything like the big showcase, and that's fine. I don't think you had to give away all the Young Bucks offense, all of Kenny Omega's 40-minute plus match main events. You didn't have to give any of that away. Saw a little bit of an instance of the super kick party between the Young Bucks, but
we got that. We got that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought it was a good main event, and it didn't have to be. Not every match has to be. You have to prove you can put on 5-star matches. I think we know what the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Jericho are capable of.
Nick went off. Nick Jackson went off.
Yeah, we can see it on the pay-per-view. Send us there, but I thought it was an absolutely fine, suitable main event. I had no issues with it. The DQ thing bothered me a bit, but I can overlook that because I think there's just an excitement that people have with AEW, and they're going to overlook that. But if you have weeks of television that doesn't make sense, then you'll warrant some good criticism.
Yeah. I didn't like the no DQ thing. I like the good tag team wrestling. They're not LEX no more, but you know who we mean. I think it was important for Jericho to get the pin, even though he pretty much got beat up throughout the whole match. I think that was the right thing to do. The Young Bucks, again, like you said, super kick party. Nick Jackson went off. And then,
Put your hand on your heart.
we the people we had the heels come in to beat down the faces, pretty much.
Yeah, so Cody came in to get
Make
his
the
revenge
save.
on Jericho. Then Sammy came in
To
then
get his revenge.
Dustin came in, and then Jake Hager.
Jake Hager, a.k.a.
Jack fucking Swagger. If this promotion's gonna be taken seriously, you're putting the whole thing on this man's shoulders. The most underrated talent WWE ever had. The greatest lisp in the business. Jack Swagger.
I like the energy.
So I'm guessing Damien Sandow's next to show up.
Oh man.
I like the energy,
That would be good.
even though Hager will not give
No.
a quarter of that energy. This also was a little bit confusing to me. I like the beatdown and everything. Did they form a faction, or was it just
It looks like they did.
heels versus faces?
It looks like they
Formed a
made
faction?
Yeah.
I think Swagger or Hager will be Jericho's like insurance policy or the muscle.
Okay.
The diesel to his HBK.
Right on. Jericho finally gets to be HBK. Huh?
We'll see.
The Batista to the Triple H.
All right, yeah. Ooh, you think Jericho will take that role? Maybe, because he is the champ.
He's the face of the company kind of right now.
Right.
He's kind of like what Hogan was to TNA. You know, he's
Ew.
kind of putting them.
gosh.
Ooh.
Well, you know what I mean.
I don't like that.
You
I
know
don't
what
like
I mean.
that.
They need that guy.
I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah.
But that was AEW Dynamite.
Well, who would you compare him to to say like TNA? What would Jericho be to AEW?
Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
In TNA?
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was AEW Dynamite. Out of 10, I would actually give this like maybe a 7.58.
Fair.
Raw, I would give maybe a 6.
Oof.
Maybe 5.5.
That high.
SmackDown gets a little higher. I would give SmackDown 6.57. I think Dynamite was the best show this week.
Would you say it was Dynamite?
Dynamite. Sean, your time has come. It's been a long time coming. Please tell us about NXT on Wednesday night.
Here in Canada, we don't actually have the Wednesday Night War, which fits the Canadian gimmick of just being a peaceful country. So if you have the network, NXT shows up at 10 p.m. So almost like a 24 hours since it concludes on USA Network. It shows up at 10 p.m. Thursdays on the network, and then here in Canada, it shows up on Sportsnet on Fridays. NXT, I believe, had the better in-ring. Like, if you look at all, I think it was about 6 matches. It was the best in-ring compared to AEW.
Now, your in-ring, was it as high impact as AEW? Or was it just technical?
I don't know what, like, who cares, like, they were just better technical matches, like.
Okay, so technical matches. So,
But, like, they were better than, I don't know. I know you guys said the Hangman Page was hard hitting, but that to me doesn't make it a good match. It's hard hitting. Like,
it was a good match because they also had a story in it. I think that's the one thing NXT had over AEW that they could have really capitalized on. And I think they did. Even though they lost in the ratings, I think they still came out. They had an edge because it wasn't their first show. So the Hangman Page and Pac match, they were supposed to fight, but Pac had to step out because of injury. So this was like them two like really like coming at it. Pac is now, I believe, undefeated in all his AEW matches. So there was a storyline going into that. Hangman Page, he's literally your next guy. He's going to be your next guy. Again, we talked about great showings. Hangman had a great showing. So I think NXT did have, I think what you could be alluding to maybe is that the match quality, in addition to storytelling, NXT basically took it for you.
I think, just bell to bell, it had better matches, but not every story. Like, Johnny Gargano versus Shane Thorne was not like a heavily built story. It was just Shane Thorne saying like, all these new guys get signed to NXT and I'm getting overlooked. And then Johnny Gargano beat him, but he had a good showing. Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle for the NXT Championship, which kicked off the show, was a good match. But to me, it's not enough to just have good matches. Everyone has good matches. Every week on NXT, there's a good match. Every week on Raw, there's at least one good match. SmackDown, there's one good match. AEW, there'll be multiple good matches. Like, that's kind of the bar. So if you fall below that, you're going to get criticism. There has to be like an excellent match, and I don't think TV is a place to have excellent matches. So I'm fine. Like, to me, I'm not drawn to just 6 good matches. So as much as NXT had a good in-ring, I think where AEW lacked was, I came in as a new viewer and you didn't really introduce me to anybody. You didn't tell me why Hangman Page? Like, where's this history? I know about it, but that was never introduced. I was never introduced to Cody Rhodes.
Now
Kenny Omega.
they did say that he fought Jericho for the world title, and they did say that he won.
Yeah, but you're
the Battle
presuming
Royale.
that people have followed AEW into Dynamite.
Not necessarily. If you know that Jericho is your first ever champion, and Hangman Page was
Yeah,
his
but how
first
do I
ever
know that?
challenger,
Like-
because they said it on.
But like, okay, they said that, but like, there's no history of like, this is what it took to get to the first All Out or Double or
Right,
Nothing. Like, there was
right.
nothing about that. Jericho coming in, like, that's fine. You can tell me who the first champion is, but there's no introduction to any characters, and that's where I think NXT did a fine job. But NXT has the existing history of existing before AEW, so
Right.
that's why it's easier to build up. But I thought like they did a promo for Tegan Nox, who's had 2 knee injuries on both knees, coming back. I think Io Shirai, some of their like squash matches ended up going like 7 minutes, but Io had a squash. Pete Dunne beat a squash. He was beat up by Damian Priest, formerly Punishment Martinez. And then I really liked the main event. I thought Street Profits had a great atmosphere with the Solo Cup and Wale. But Undisputed Era continued to be basically incapable of having bad matches. So, and I thought the Women's Championship, which actually went head to head with the Women's Championship in AEW, both broadcasts, I thought Shayna was the dominant champion and came out the dominant champion. And for me,
Shayna's scary, bro.
yeah, and for me, Nyla Rose is supposed to be a monster, and she gets beat. What's the point? Like,
So
moving forward, she's beatable now. She's not an unbeatable monster. So.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm so torn on that AEW match, bro. I'm so torn. Again, the crowd made that match. I do believe the NXT women's match was better.
But I think I have a piece that I'm just writing up, and I'll send on my blog. No doubt, AEW won the ratings. I think give it to AEW this week. Like, they had a lot of pressure on them to start off hot, to start off with a good impression, and they fulfilled that. I'm more familiar with NXT guys, so maybe that's why I was drawn. But, give AEW its credit. They came to the dance and they showed up. Like, they didn't just like, it wasn't amateur hour, it wasn't like people cutting out, it wasn't bad matches. And AEW has a following, and those people are there. Like, they paid to be in the building. They showed up and watched it on TV. This is not a joke promotion. This is not a little like, they're gonna like pass by next year and AEW's done. Like, they've come to play. I don't know if they're gonna surpass Raw and SmackDown. I don't know if that wrestling audience really exists to be 5 million, but
Right.
as somebody who not planning to watch or has no desire to watch AEW, and I'll be the first to be critical of them when they do screw up, but on this night, on this week, I think they showed up, and I think they have to be like applauded for that. And that goes to everybody: production, Cody, Kenny, the Young Bucks, like their vision, Tony Khan, like all those guys put their heart and soul into this production. And on night one, they deserve a round of applause and they deserve credit. Like, it's not a pat on the head. It's like, man,
Who
you guys
are
came
you?
to play.
What's
yeah.
going on?
They walked in with some swagger, you could say.
Well, if they want to stay at the mid-level, they can keep walking with.
Wow.
And I would know about mid-card.
With a former WWE champion, I don't know about that.
world
That's how you
heavyweight.
bring your.
Did you watch his Money in the Bank where he struggled to unhook the briefcase?
Yeah, you guys were talking about Lashley tongue fucking Lana, and the man doesn't know how to climb a ladder. So that's your WWE right there.
Oh man.
But overall, we had a few actually surprise returns for NXT.
Yeah, Finn Balor, which people are saying is a demotion. I don't see it as that.
How do you, Miguel? How do you feel about NXT? Do you see it as a demotion if a Raw guy or a SmackDown guy appears on NXT?
Never watched NXT.
Right on.
You have to watch one of the
I'll just be
takeovers.
honest.
Yeah,
Is that a
Sean brought us.
pay-per-view?
it's there.
Yeah, it's
Remember
there.
In Your House?
Yeah.
It's like that, but way better.
NXT actually looks really good.
Yeah,
It was actually
It looks
very
better than-
enjoyable. The one
sometimes
we
it looks-
watched here, it was very enjoyable.
Maybe I gotta watch it. If I'm around next time, we'll definitely watch it. I'm down.
Sorry, you just mentioned the whole thing about NXT just seeming like a demotion to some people. The only reason I would think that is more because the way you guys had promoted, and I think we were talking about this at the last pod, about moving on to the main roster on SmackDown and Raw. Like,
Right.
NXT seems, even though they're putting out a quality product that is more consistent than your Raw and SmackDown, it's still being used as that stepping stone or that launch pad to get on the main roster. Even if that main show might not be as good of an overall product.
I think it has the aura of a developmental.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
that's how it
guys
started, right?
compete as we're just a third brand. So for me, it's kind of a horizontal shift for Balor, not a drop down.
Yeah.
But I do understand why people would be like, this guy was on Raw. But what was he doing on Raw that he can't take a break from And just a couple weeks ago, people were saying Kevin Owens will show up on NXT, and they were fine with that.
Right.
And now Finn Balor suddenly demoted. I think Finn Balor is exactly what you need. He's a shot at AEW to say, you know what, we're the WWE, and anybody who we want, we could just bring to that Wednesday night show.
But I think that's what Triple H is trying to do now. Like
But
especially
that's good.
now.
That means
for sure.
That means they're paying attention to AEW, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
AEW has poked the beast and said, we've come to play, bring it. And so Triple H is like, okay, give me Finn Balor. I don't think you're going to get Roman Reigns. I don't think you're going to get Brock. I don't think you're going to get Daniel Bryan. You might get Daniel Bryan.
Might see DB.
The Daniel Bryan might be a desperate call, but at the same time, I think that would be cool. So I see it as a horizontal shift. As you do a couple weeks and you go back up to the main roster, and people will see you beat a bunch of kids in NXT and you came back up, or whatever it is.
Right.
But I think there's guys who should be on NXT who are on the main roster.
Well, look at Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Yeah.
They made their...
But these are guys who I don't think the main... And I include Finn in this. I don't think the main roster is going to miss. So they can afford to be on NXT.
I can't believe... I think the main roster... Well, I mean, from your point of view, maybe you should stop calling it the main roster. Because from what you just said, NXT is now main roster. Officially third brand. But I think that Finn has a place on Raw or SmackDown.
I suppose... I'm not a big fan of Finn, so I don't get the appeal. But he's certainly talented. Like... That's the thing. Like, these guys are talented, but I think we talked about it earlier. I'm a character guy. I'm a sports entertainment guy. So give me Otis, give me Velveteen Dream, give me Elias, give me Walter, give me The Fiend over your Bray Wyatts, your in-ring guys. So
Yeah. Who else came back, yo?
Tommaso Ciampa came back at the end of the night. So for anyone who doesn't know, Tommaso Ciampa had to relinquish the NXT championship, and he was supposed to defend it at New York. And he came back. He's had a kind of an emotional roller coaster, succumbing to injury and having to forfeit your title. And so it was very interesting that Adam Cole was positioned to have two challengers for the NXT championship on one night. So again, like multiple stories set up. But I think Ciampa received, to me, from when I viewed it, a bigger reaction than Balor. So that was really cool. It was like, this is an NXT guy going for the NXT title again.
I don't know. Maybe I have to watch it again. Everybody was freaking out over Balor.
Yeah, I still think Ciampa got a bigger reception.
Maybe
they were reacting over Balor because they're not expecting Balor.
Yeah.
And then he's saying he's NXT, but I think Ciampa is somebody who they're like, no, that's the guy we want. Like,
right.
I don't know.
True.
I think if you're familiar with Balor, then you're gonna buy into the reception. I think, right? But if you're not a day in day out watching Ciampa, I don't know. I thought he got a bigger pop.
Yeah.
And people are more excited. But
yeah, a more casual NXT viewer, of course, like myself, I don't even know this. I thought he was naming a Pokemon for that second thing. So it would definitely be Balor that I would be cheering on bigger. But again, he's like one of my top guys.
Yeah.
On the roster in general. So
Sean, so I have to ask. So I graded them. What would you give
each show?
Yeah.
I'd give Raw maybe like a 6.1.
100-point scale.
Yeah.
I'd give AEW a 7.2.
What about if they didn't have Swagger?
A 7.7.
Oh wow!
I give it a 7.2, including the Swagger. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was the best show of all time.
Just
NXT, I'd give. What did I give AEW? 7.2. I'll give NXT 7.1, and SmackDown I'd give 7.8.
Ooh.
7.9.
Really? Okay.
7.8. 7.8. I think 7.9 is a bit much.
Interesting.
Because it was great, but then if you look at it, like there were some down periods too on SmackDown, right? So I think it was just the hype. I think the hype got me excited. The Fox, the set, everything felt like I gotta watch this show. And
yeah,
will I give up my Friday night next week? Maybe not. That's the thing. What's gonna bring me back? Monday will always bring me back because I'm a creature of habit. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big I don't watch NXT beyond the takeovers, to be honest. Like I don't watch the week to week NXT.
Right.
It was just this 1 week. I do want to see Luchasaurus, so crap AEW did something. And I think SmackDown's gonna have a big feel again next week. So
I think it will. I think it will.
I wasn't so sold on the Kane thing, but
Kane Velasquez. We'll see. I love the set. I will tune in to SmackDown next week. Okay. I will also tune in to Dynamite, and I wish I can tune into NXT, but I just don't know how or where.
Sportsnet 7:00, but you get the hour condensed version.
Oh, gotcha.
Or your stream's online for sure. But
on what day?
Friday.
Oh shit.
But you can watch. You can probably get a stream on USA on the Wednesday.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yo, Miguel, you saw SmackDown at least.
Correct.
What would you give it?
SmackDown got a 7.5.
Oh, okay, that's pretty high.
7.5. Yeah. For my expectations. 7.5.
Oh well, your boy won.
My boy cleaned up real nice at the end there, Lesnar.
So, thank you for joining us on this generic side quest. It was a little bit of a sloppy one. There was a few technical difficulties.
This was the AEW premiere shows of podcast, but it's our 4th episode.
5th? 6th? Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time for our gaming edition. We're a little bit overdue, and we have to talk about a dastardly goose.
Ah!
Take it easy.